This is my second attempt of, I think it was called Breezy Sky or something like that, I'm not sure. But this was the first attempt, and that's the picture that I did with it. And I totally screwed up the hand and arm. But I'd really screwed up those clouds, so I tried to do them again. And I still messed them up a bit. I tried to soften this edge, and it ended up just looking messy. But anyway, I'm going to have a little finch looking out the window. And this is the program that I'm working through. And I'm still on skies.
Oops.
Oops. This is what I was trying to do today, which I totally messed up. And he was warning, make sure it's absolutely dry here before you start or you'll wreck it. And yep, look at that. Totally wrecked. But I thought it was absolutely dry. I mean, I waited forever. So, I don't know. If I try this one again, I'm going to do it like the day before.
Yeah.
And then do it. But anyway, we'll see if I can make something good of that. And this is a ditch art picture that I just finished and yesterday. And I don't know if you can see the person in there. He's mopping the windows of an alligator or crocodile, whatever, I don't know the difference, enclosure. And that's James's dinner that he's eating today.
They look like alligators. They've got snub noses.
Oh, okay.
Crocodiles have pointed kind of noses.
Oh, I don't know. Okay. Boy Erased got top of the stack. I've seen it before, but it was worth watching again, I guess. I'd forgotten I'd watched it. Prey got second in the stack. It's a Predator movie. And I don't like the Predator movies, but honestly, this was the best one that I've seen. And then Wild Indian got the bottom of the stack. Yeah.
Too powerful or something like that.
I don't know. It's kind of unbelievable when people don't die against the Predator, honestly. So I'm going to bring these things in, so if you can talk for a minute, that'd be great.
I don't know if I got much to talk about.
Really?
Not really.
Well, maybe talk about my crummy art. Talk about the Predator.
Well, you don't think of your art as crummy. What you do is when you're starting off, new technique or new techniques, you always got to tell yourself that to make a mistake is to make a beginning. So you don't concentrate on the negative, you concentrate on the positive, because you do not want to burn out on what you're doing. It's important.
On the artwork?
Yeah, it's important to find out what it does. Build on that. So on and so forth. Pauline's gone through this process. Only she started largely from zero with writing poetry. Now she's getting very, very good at it. Technically, she's it's hard to compare with anybody. Yeah. She's way better than Joni Mitchell, for example. Margaret Atwood wouldn't have tried to write them. Pauline writes, so.
Yeah, I meant to write some poetry today. I started while you came in. I was starting, and at first I woke up with a bit of a poem in my head, and I thought, oh, okay, I should do that, and then I just started doing art again. But it's all part of the same thing, really. It's all part of the same project.
Yeah, exactly.
So, whatever. So Boy Erased, the acting is good and everything, and I don't know if this was based on a true story or if it's just totally fictional, whatever. Either way, whatever. Good acting. And it's about really abuse by, I guess they would be Baptists, I suppose, but the people who are trying to get the gay out of kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just Baptists. There's a variety of different fundamentalists.
And the thing
there's different varieties of Baptists. So some might not look too kindly on that sort of stuff. I liked it. So.
Well, I think it's totally natural when people are gay. There are. It's not only a human phenomenon. It happens in other animal species too.
Yeah, the little chihuahua was as gay as a jay.
Yep.
He
was so gay.
He'd hump his cousin or something like that. And his cousin was way bigger than him, and his cousin was a nice guy. He just let him do it. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get all annoyed about it.
No.
So.
But anyway, it's honestly, I think it's a hormonal thing. Honestly, I think it has to do with. I mean, embryos are really sensitive to things when they're in utero, right? I don't know. It could be. It's so like with parents getting upset about their child being gay or something. Well, maybe it had something to do with the chemicals in the water that you were drinking while you were pregnant. Don't get upset with your kid about that. You know, it's there's a number of possibilities for why this would naturally happen, that people would naturally end up gay. So whatever.
And when something goes back to the beginning like that, you're not going to change it.
No.
If it's hormonal, you're not going to change it by giving poor folks a huge dose of hormones,
or whatever.
Counteract it.
It's just
it's ignorant to do that sort of stuff. It's like people who want to give hormones, unbelievable, to pygmies so they can be regular size, human growth hormone.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
I am serious.
Oh my gosh.
And this has been in the news for a long time.
That's terrible.
Of course, there are worse ways to treat pygmies. Apparently in Africa, they're back to eating them again. And understand, it's not a Australic kind of view, Occidentalism, Australism. A certain group has complained to the United Nations. It's the pygmies themselves. Complain to the United Nations about being eaten by their neighboring, presume it's Bantu folk. Shame on you.
How are the peas?
So
of
course, it's supposed to be politically incorrect to say that some of the folks out there in Africa chowed down on people. Yeah, maybe we can blame that on capitalism and imperialism and stuff like that. The imperialists in most of those countries there were there for less than 3 generations. And, like my parents were missionaries there. They didn't convert a person. People don't change that fast. They're it's the same sort of thing with the English. When they developed democracy, it took them 800 years to develop democracy, and it's pretty feeble, as is. It's one of the more vigorous ones in the world, but it's pretty feeble. 800 years. Things don't change overnight. Yeah? Anyway, back to you.
Are the peas cooked enough?
The chickpeas, you mean?
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Good.
They're a little hard.
Oh, man. So I should put them on for longer then.
Let's see. They're about right.
Okay. Craig. This was the best Predator movie that I've watched. It's
that's not necessarily
set back in history a little bit, and it's it's a Comanche Nation tribe that's dealing with the Predator. And
is this before contact or after?
After, because we don't know at first, right? It's but not that long after, because they didn't have guns. They didn't know how to use guns. And then
the Comanches did.
Yeah, and they ran into some French people, and
One guy knew their language, which, I mean, it's presented to us as English, right? But, I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
because they're making the movie. But
Yeah, the French were all over the place. I mean,
but yeah, one of them is saying, you should help us because they're killing you too. The predator's killing you too. So we should work together, right? But they don't want to work with the French people, and anyway.
yeah, it was part of the French Empire. A lot of Western United States. I don't know if it's, it'd be French explorers down in places that were probably part of the Spanish Empire.
But yeah, it was entertaining. You might watch it and go, okay, well, are they giving a message that this predator is like the British or what? But I don't think so. I don't think they're trying to make that message in this movie. What else can I say about it? The only thing that I really didn't like, there was one part where she's in the like quicksand kind of boggy area, right? And she gets herself out of there, and you know that it's going to be a predator trap later on. It's not a big mystery, it's the way that they took a long time about that, and she knows about this spot now. So, and she learns, right? She wants to be a warrior. She doesn't want to be she doesn't want jobs that are typical female kind of jobs. She wants to be a warrior. And the guys in the tribe are not really supportive of that, including her brother, right? But in the end, he is supportive. He tells her, "Yeah, I know you're awesome," kind of thing. So, anyway, and in the end, everybody would see that she wasn't worried. But the only part that I really didn't like was there was one part she was talking about beaver with its leg caught in a trap, chewed off its leg, and they're tied up, and she's going to use this trap to cut the ropes, and her brother is thinking, and you're thinking too, are you going to seriously chop off one of your hands so that you can get out of this situation? But then she says, but I'm smarter than a beaver. And it's like, okay, but that's not the same situation. The beaver's leg was actually caught in the trap. You're thinking about putting the leg the hand in the trap. That's a different thing entirely. So it doesn't make her look smarter than a beaver. It just makes her look like a jerk, honestly, and not actually reading the situation, right? So, I mean, we're supposed to think she's awesome, and that didn't work. So, but aside from that, if you're into a lot of action and a lot of I didn't see these, the Predator have all these cool weapons and stuff before. They had some coolness, but I think there's more weapons and the shield and everything that I didn't notice before. But it's been a long time since I've seen a Predator movie. So, yeah. Anyway.
They finally got guided missile bullets. That's the thing that bothers me about Star Wars. You see these rays going.
It's funny you mention that, because Predator, he has all sorts of weapons like that.
Okay, there we go.
So, anyway, Wild Indian. This one got bottom of the stack, and it's not like the acting was all right. You have a little bit of Jesse Eisenberg in here, even. But
I generally like that guy.
Yeah,
because I've never seen him in a movie. I found it clunkers. So.
Yeah, but it's as much as it's kind of a big story. It's about somebody getting murdered and buried, and secretly, and all that sort of stuff. And then years later, people are having to deal with all that. But. So, I mean, it's serious subject matter, but it just seems really ho-hum. Honestly, the way they presented it, it didn't seem...
Is it getting blamed on an Indigenous person or something?
Well, it was an Indigenous person on an Indigenous person.
Yeah, okay.
So, anyway.
I mean, sometimes Indigenous people get blamed. There's a guy called Donald
You
Marshall.
get to see that right away in the movie, so I'm not really giving anything away.
Uh,
I'm not telling you who died, who done it, but they do. They do in the movie right away. That's not really, that's kind of like incidental thing, and you're dealing with the aftermath of that, and eventually the past catching up with people. But yeah, I just didn't find it that entertaining, honestly.
No, there you go. Wild Indian.
Maybe it's that I watched it after Predator. There was a lot of excitement in that one, in Prey. So I don't have anything else to talk about. You?
I don't know. You know, this guy looks kind of like archetypically Indian. When people say they're the other, Europeans are Eurasian, and so are Indigenous people, the Eurasian. They came from the Asian side of things, so they got somewhat darker skin. This guy, you know, doesn't look that much different, let's say, from a Hungarian person. And, well, you know, like you get some people from Africa, they look really, really different from Eurasians. I'm not just talking about European. I'm talking about people from India. I'm talking about people from China. I'm talking about people from North Asia, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the Aboriginal people from Australia look very different, especially the ones with the white hair.
they look
That's
very different.
really cool. I don't know.
They
Mother
look
Nature
very
is
different.
very interesting.
The other thing to do is to understand that looks are abstraction. You know, like what people were going around in the 60s and 70s, maybe still, black is beautiful, nothing's beautiful, wake up, smell the coffee.
Or everything is, you know,
Or
depending on
everything.
how you look
No,
at it,
it's like
but-
Ray Stevens, everybody's beautiful in their own
Yeah.
way. So, cut the crap about talking about that, because there's always going to be someone, my nose ain't beautiful. There'll be people who'll have their noses burned up, or whatever. And they've got to look. There'll be people walking around on one leg. There are people who'll have their back smashed up like me. So I walk around like a hunchback. That's the way it goes. And I gotta live with it. So I guess it's just a matter of growing up. Yeah, teenagers are sensitive. It's funny, I kind of got maybe an average or smaller than average nose. When my nose started getting bigger when I was a teen, I thought I had a huge hunk.
Yeah, well, my forehead was really big when I was
Mm-hmm.
10 or something like that. And
Mm.
the rest of my head seemed to grow into it. So it all worked out just fine. So yeah, if you're a kid and you're all hung up about the way you look, just wait a few years. It'll all work out. And
And eventually,
if it doesn't work out the way you like, well, somebody else will like it. So it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. Yeah.
I was just reading a biography of a German novelist who apparently was really homemade. Ended up committing suicide when he was in his 40s or something like that. Is that Borkert?
Hey, baby.
Borkert. And I'm going, yeah, I don't know. You know, I know someone who's got like a huge, it's not like a birthmark on his face. He seems pretty happy, achieving kind of guy. I don't know. He had that from birth. And, stuff like that. When you first meet him, you know, you kind of are startled, but eventually you just don't notice it.